When they are consuming your minds and your thoughts and your dreams, from the angels to the demons and to the mysteries unseen, there is no need to worry. There is no need for dread. It's just time to discuss the thing at the foot of the bed.
Evening, everybody, and if you're just tuning in or you're listening, you are listening to UFO Paranormal Radio Network with our show, The Thing at the Foot of the Bed. Welcome. We're broadcasting to you from 105.3 out of New Orleans, as well as 107.7. And you can find us on Facebook, on YouTube, under UFO Paranormal Radio Network. Also, we are broadcasting to you on TV on our own network channel tonight, David and I, with this show. So you can find it. I don't have a code, so I explain it every week. So what you're going to do is you're going to sign into your Roku account. You are then going to the channel store. You're going to be looking up UFO space P as in paranormal. There'll be a list that comes up. We're about the third or fourth down. You're looking for UFO space paranormal and United Public Radio. We are known by both names. Actually, it's United Public Radio Network. Anyways, I should tell you a little bit about myself. You guys beat us here. We saw you. We saw you in the chat. We were still getting caught up. So thank you for being here. We got a ton of people. I'm going to shout you out before I even introduce myself. We've got Sandra Sharp. We got Zach Mann. We got Erica Ramirez, my resident crystal horror. And I'm not being rude. She named herself that. I told her I would never forget her, and I haven't. Mr. or Miss Facebook user. If you are on Facebook and you've never been to StreamYard, please head over to StreamYard.com/Facebook and give them permission to use your name and your picture, and then we'll know who you are. Otherwise, we have no clue who you are. You said only able to catch part of the show, leaving Duluth shortly. I know who that is. That's Shannon. Okay, Facebook user, that's Shannon. I know it is. Welcome. Drive safely. Anyways, I am Lorilei Potvin. I'm a host on this network of 2 shows. I host a Monday night show from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time called The Angel Rock. And then I co-host this amazing show with my amazing co-host here, who I will introduce in 1 second. I am a Crystal Reiki energy healer from Canada. I'm going to start over. Canadian Crystal Reiki energy healer, Akashic Records practitioner. I'm also a clairvoyant medium. I am a spiritual teacher and mentor and a registered nurse. And we love having you here. Welcome. And I'm going to introduce you to David. Here you go, Dave. Take it away.
Hi, guys. I'm David Hanzel. I'm a spiritual medium. I do Reiki. I channel spirits. I do angel readings, talk to angels. I do that a lot. And I do paranormal investigations. I love the metaphysical. I study it constantly, like all the time. It's almost scary. I tell you, it's almost scary. And today...
Wait, you know what I forgot to tell Dave? Quickly, I'm going to cut in. I forgot. Sorry, guys. I was a little off on my game here. I don't read anything I haven't memorized. I forgot to tell you, if you are listening and you want to join in the conversation so we can call you out and you can ask questions and join in the fun, please head over to UFO Paranormal Radio, either on Facebook, or you can go to the YouTube channel. You can go to David's channel, which is the Spirit Experience with David Hanzel, and mine is the Angel Rock with Lorilei Potvin. I'm just typing hello, so you'll see the channel there. Sorry, Dave, go ahead. I forgot that part.
Thank you, Erica. I appreciate that. I appreciate hearing that. It makes my work so much more special.
David and I were live last night on TikTok doing readings together, actually promoting this show.
We decided that probably before the show on Thursday nights, we're going to go live on our... Right now, it's on my channel on TikTok, and we'll be doing both channels shortly. And we kind of do a lot of card readings on there. So, promote whatever show we're going to do tonight. And I get a lot of questions about signs and contacting loved ones. Although we'll talk about that, but I also want to talk about when you are personally trying to contact something other than loved ones who are in the you know, on the other side, we'll say. I don't want to say heaven because not everything's in heaven. So I think that we'll talk about that, how to get signs, how to recognize the signs, and everything else, because everybody who is listening right now and who's listening later on, you have the ability to receive and get these signs, and you have the ability to ask for them and everything else. So know that that can be done. I mean, it's not that I want to put Lorilei and I out of business, but I want you to also know that, you know, this is something you still have the connection, whether someone like me or Lorilei is sitting in front of you or not. You still have the connection to all that there is outside of this world. Do you have anything to add with that, Lorilei?
Okay, well, I'm going to give you guys a little hint. First of all, we always use the same background for this show. We specifically, Dave and I worked a lot before the show. I will add something. I want to let you know, if you ever want to know what we're going to start with, you guys, I always put a hint. I kind of animate the banner, and I usually try and pick some music or a song that'll kind of go with it. So we're going to talk about signs. And I do agree with you, Dave, 100% about this. I wanted to add that little part. And please like, share, and subscribe if you like what you see. God, I was really off my game tonight, you guys. Also, I'll let you know we've got new shows, new hosts. Check them out. If you see what you like, please tell your friends and your family. Come and join the whole UPRN family. There's something for everybody here. Okay, back to what you asked me. Yes, I agree 100%. And I tell people this all the time. And there are people, because I have a pet peeve. I'm not perfect. None of us are perfect. And I do try to walk the walk of the talk that I do. And I say it's not my job to judge. So I'm not being judgmental about this. But a pet peeve I have are people that do what David and I do. And they present themselves, whether it's purposefully or not, like they're up on a pedestal, like we have these gifts. You must only come and see us. You must only come to us for readings, for connections. That's not what it is. We all have these gifts. And I truly believe that part of my mission here in my work as a light worker is to remind people who they really are. And if you don't know who you are, you can't remember. It's tuning into shows like this and talking about these kind of topics. And if something really resonates with you, taking what you've seen here or learned and running with it. Look it up. See what works for you, what doesn't. Try it, play with it, have fun with it.
No, that's absolutely correct. The best way to start to notice all these things or get these signs is to put yourself into it a little bit. Like something, you got to stick your toe in the water to know what it's going to feel like, you know, the temperature. So tune into some YouTube videos, some shows, watch some spiritual stuff, and so on and so forth. Before I go on, Erica, can you highlight her comment right down there? Erica, it's so funny that
You got to read it out, Dave, for our listeners.
Okay, I will in a minute. It's synchronistic that you posted this question because that is where I'm starting, and it's right on my phone here with that very thing. Erica has written, I feel my dad has been leaving dimes in my path like crazy since he passed in May 9th, almost every day. That is cool that you know that dimes and change and pennies and all that is a way that our loved ones and even friends and sometimes angels and guides will leave signs for you. It's hardest for people with change because, you know, we're always seeing change on the ground. So you want to know, was this coincidental? Which it is. Nothing's really coincidental, but was this by chance or is this actually happening? So I always tell people, watch the patterns. If you're constantly finding the same kind of coin, as in dimes like you were, most likely it's probably a sign. Also, if you see change or something like a penny and a nickel all the time, or if you see a quarter heads up all the time, I mean, these are little details you have to pay attention to. The biggest thing for me is to pay attention to the date. My brother tends to leave me change on the ground that has the date of the year of his passing. So that
That's very
happens
good.
quite a bit. Um, I'll also, with the dimes, if people ask me, how do spirits send you these things? So which is a really good
I want to
question.
add about my son. So as soon as you want to move ahead, or you want me to? Well, you go ahead because I'm uploading a picture. So you go ahead, and then I'll
Okay.
I'll
So
throw it
I'll
in.
continue just with the nickels and dimes stuff, that piece of information, and I'll head it back over to Lorilei so
Okay,
she can
thanks,
give you some
Steve.
more signs. But when you got to look at it this way, there isn't a spirit who's actually taking his little spirit fingers or jazz hands or whatever you want to call them. He's not taking his fingers and he's not putting a quarter and a nickel in front of you, like in the morning and waiting for you around the corner to see if you get it. Everything happens almost by manipulation. I have to say it. That's probably the best human word I can think of. You are being manipulated to go to a certain direction in order to see these things. They can just materialize too by switching dimensions over. Because you, like, say you're walking down a country road. Well, there are several versions of you walking down that same country road. And in each version, there's maybe something on that road. One, there's a car that passes you, maybe there's a cow to the right of you. Maybe there's one that has a whole bunch of change on the ground. So they can switch you from over, to that dimension. That's probably the best way I can put it. It sounds weird, but in human language, it's the only way to really put it. But that's how they actually get things and materialize things to you. And coincidentally, that's how your watches get. That's how your watches get put in different places, and you find things around the house differently because of the fact you were kind of manipulated into that happening for something. So go ahead, Lorilei, with what you're doing.
Okay, sorry. We got lots to talk about. I'm hoping I can show you guys. I don't know if it'll show up because I did it as a background, but my sign, because what we can also do, say, like Erica shared in the comments, I don't have them in front of me because of the pictures I'm going to share, that she said to her dad before he passed, let me know how it is from the other side, but don't scare the SHIT out of me, please. And she put LOL. That's true. So you can set up a sign. And I've met people that have talked about a specific bird or butterfly or an animal. And the person will say, when I'm on the other side, I'm going to show up that way. Or maybe you haven't set up a sign, but you start noticing something showing up with some frequency or very unusual. You can set that sign. Now, I may have to remove myself so I can show you guys, because I decided it was hearts, okay? And my first dog, she's no longer, one of my dogs, I should say, she's no longer with us. Her name was Miley. And when she was a puppy, she had a potty accident, number one potty accident. And I'll pull me out just so you can see, because I don't think you'll be able to see it. This is what she left me. Hang on, I'll pull me out of here so you guys can see.
It's
Wait,
a
I
PR.
out for 1 sec so we could see it. I have another one uploaded, but just so you guys can see that. Hi, Robin. Hi, Howie. Hi, Leah. Um, anyways, that was a perfect heart. Okay, it was quick to see because we were off air, so you wouldn't be able to hear us. We were in the green room, but I didn't have time to upload it because I didn't think about it till we were talking. But now, every time I see a heart, and I am not kidding, I have pictures. I have a whole album of little coffee spills, the chicken nugget. Where I'll post it, guys? I'll post it under our live tonight on my profile. It is a perfect heart from a big box of chicken nuggets that came from a pizza place. You would not believe the places I find it. And when I do, I know that's a sign from my guides and my angels that I'm on the right track. And that, I guess what I'm trying to say, the more that you notice and you're thankful for it and you pay attention to it, the other side will send you those signs, because they want to be able to communicate and be able to, like I've set it up that every time I see it, I'm on the right track.
Yeah, I know I do stuff. I got stuff like that too. I like the fact that, see, for everybody listening, some of you might be giggling at the fact that a dog made a mess on the floor in the
Yeah,
shape
but it
of a
looks perfect. People won't believe me.
yeah,
They've said to me before, my God, there's no way. Yeah, she did. She did
yeah. It's
as
like, but what better sign from an animal, and then for the sign to continue on there.
Mhm.
That's really funny that you said family dog, because guess what? My second one is my
No,
first.
and we did not talk about this ahead of time, guys.
My second one is the family dog. That's so besides your dog doing that, which is really kind of cool actually.
Hi,
Um
Tristan.
your dog dogs a lot of times will stare at things. In sometimes if notice sometimes when you're thinking about a loved one, if you have a pet, you're thinking about a loved one and you're just sitting there thinking about them, look up and notice what your animal is doing at that moment, because of the fact that animals can feel that energy, and most likely they probably can see whoever you're thinking about. So okay, Howie's got a comment here.
Yeah, he says I had a series of knocks with my ex-wife. She passed last week. And at the
Sorry.
time she passed, I'm so sorry, Howie. He says at the time she passed, I heard the series of distinct knocks. I cannot tell you what that meant to me in this and my research. And I know further down, that's how I knew you had posted that, Howie. He says we lay her to rest in 2 days. So we send our deepest condolences and empathy, Howie.
It's really wonderful how I get that, because I know my family members come through to me all the time, and I wish everybody could get what you get, especially to give you that validation and that feeling, and then for your work too, and just what you believe in the paranormal and all that. It's really wonderful to get that validation. I always tell people the number one job of any paranormal researcher should be to bring evidence of the other side, you know, not just scare people. It
I
should
want
be
to give Howie a shout out too, because he owns the Rift Network and it's an amazing network. They support UPRN, they share our shows, they attend them, and we appreciate it. He also added, she gave me what we needed proof.
yes. And that is what we need sometimes. It's all we ever need. Howie, I'm going to tell you guys a story real quick. And I hope I'll make it real short, but just so you know how important that validation can be. When when I was in the hospital, when I had my near death and the part of the coma I was in, two things stuck out. And that was our little dog Toto getting killed by the other two big dogs. It had happened in my sleep when I was there, and also that I had to come back home and that my older brother was going to come over. So I seen those quite perfectly. And I'm not saying at any point do I predict death. I don't, because I'm going to tell you why that was allowed. So I seen those two things, and when I had come home after the coma and a couple months later, I pretty much was kind of trying to chalk everything off as being I just hallucinated it because it was so remarkable, but I couldn't shake it. It's like, no, wait, this happened. But there was so much that happened. Well, anyway, the following year, it's the first one happened, and that was the dog. Our dog did get killed by the other two dogs in front of me. And then at the end of the year, my brother got diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer and a brain tumor. And when the dog died, I thought to myself, okay, that was coincidence. I can't know. And then when my brother got sick, I started freaking out. After he passed away for a good couple months, I was pissed off. I was so angry with God and spirits and everything, going, why did I know these things? Why I don't want to know these things. Why did I know these things? Well, in short, the answer came back to me. And the answer was, we needed you to have something that would validate and prove that your experience was real. That's the only reason. And I said, okay, I get it. I did. I got it. But then I also got a really beautiful visitation from the doggy, who was just fine, and from my brother. So the night before he passed, and really after he passed, and I always get signs from him. I get cigarette smoke. He put cigarette smoke in my house or songs. That's the big one for him.
So you know that. So I want to read Zach's comment here, but Sandra also added, and I think it's important. So I'm going to highlight it and go back to Zach's. Sandra says, someone on another show or episode recently said ladybugs from past loved ones. Absolutely. That's another one I've seen.
Yep. Oh, and ladybug is also from your guides, and they're also a totem, and they mean prosperity and luck.
Dragonflies. I mean, we go on and on. Yeah. What was that, Dave?
No, and I said in love too, it means. Okay, go ahead.
Sorry, it's probably me. So I'm going to read Zach Mann's comment. So he says, I have an interesting story about the universe giving me a sign. Last fall, I got out of a 10-year relationship and was so stressed. I kept questioning whether it was the right thing to do. And you said a day. And I remember that, Zach, and I thought of you often. I really did. Hang on, I'm going down here. I think he's typed it, but I got ahead. Okay. After ending it, I find my favorite torch lighter on the ground near my bed. I gave this to my ex and she ended up losing it. It's sentimental to me, so it's one of the few things I still have. So I would take that as a sign. Like, where did it come from? It was lost, and all of a sudden the two of you, you ended, and you, like you said, you were questioning yourself. And I believe that only we know, like you said, you found the lighter and you knew what it meant. That's a sign.
Yeah, we always get, and they'll just come from loved ones. And I'll tell you we'll just tell you some stories about what we got.
Okay, well, hang on. I got to call this out because I forgot. And I didn't say hi to Robin, and I meant to. Robin's over in the UK. He's a podcaster too. I did forget. So thank you for reminding me, Robin. I am going to be on Robin and AJ's show. It broadcasts on Facebook on Sunday, Talking with the Source on Sunday. Will David be joining me? I don't know. Are you working? You're working Sunday, eh?
I probably won't be able to on Sunday. Boo-hoo.
Yeah, because his only days off are usually Wednesdays and Thursdays. So you didn't ask me. I was at the doctor's when you asked me, Robin. Remember, I sent you everything yesterday. Go ahead, Dave.
One day I would totally love to, but yeah. But this Sunday I can't. We'll tell you guys some stories about signs, really remarkable ones. Okay, Sandra says that she smells her mother's favorite perfume and she hears her brother's favorite song when she's thinking about them. That's really key, you guys. Pay attention to what happens around you when you are thinking about someone. Right before we got on today, I got a beautiful, wonderful sign. I was thinking about an old friend of mine. His name is Greg, and I loved Greg. And Greg, unfortunately, took himself out years and years ago. And which is sad. He's so cool. But when we used to drive to Chicago from Milwaukee all the time, this is like back in the early 90s, late 80s, there's a song by Till Tuesday that used to be out called Voices Carry.
Voices Carry.
Yeah, he had a convertible and I was crazy and I still am. But I used to sit there and I'd stand up in the car almost on the highway singing that song. I would be going, he said, shut up, shut up. I'd be screaming all this. But anyway, I was sitting down, I was thinking about Greg, and my YouTube video went to the next video because it played out, and it was Amy Mann singing Voices Carry. And I was like, oh, that's so cool. I said, hi, Greg, thank you. So stuff like that happens. And I know, there are times where I'm late on the signs. Like I know they've given me a sign and I just miss them. But for the most part, I pay attention to everything. But that's also part of my job. And it's part of
when it's important, a sign, and it's coming from the other side, and say you do miss it, they'll give it to you again.
Yeah, they'll get it again. What did Zach Mann write?
I forgot I didn't see this last part. So it was talking about finding this very sentimental lighter and questioning his, him and his ex breaking up. And then he said, and where he'd gotten it from was when he owned a cigar lounge. I remember that, Zach. And he said to me, this was the universe telling me I did the right thing by getting out of a toxic relationship. And how he says, thank you, guys. I agree, Zach. I really thought about you a lot. I remember when you were going through that. And you just don't want to get yourself in anybody's business, but let people know, for myself anyways, let people know I'm thinking about you and I care about you. And you're a pretty private guy, so I really appreciate you sharing what you shared here. Now, we did have from Tristan. Sorry, Tristan, I didn't want to scoot by here. You said animals are naturally multidimensional. And then we've got Kay here. I don't think we've seen you before. Kay, welcome. They say, I had a dream of my dog who passed, and my son never met him and dreamt of him and knew his name, and even woke to him barking in my face on my chest.
Oh,
Interesting.
that's cool. That's cool. I love stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
So,
I wish that more people in life, whether you believe this stuff or not, just some of us, when these things happen, it is very exciting and it's very beautiful. And
okay, so Dave,
and I will. Hi, Joy.
I haven't seen you in forever. We know Joy from a previous group we were all in, so it was so nice
Oh
to see you
yeah,
here.
Joy. That's what it was.
We're not
Um,
saying it.
don't say its name. It's like saying Voldemort.
Yes, we're not saying it.
Yeah, we're just not doing it.
Yes.
I'll tell you guys from last week. I'm going to show them this. I didn't tell these
Oh, you
people.
have to. You guys should have seen the video I sent him. And David knows, or anybody that knows me well, I hate taking pictures of myself. I don't mind being live, but I will never watch myself on video. I was so shocked. I actually videotaped myself. My mouth was like hanging open because I was so shocked. I had to send it to him to show him how shocked I was. Go ahead, Dave.
So, you guys, anybody who was with us last week, we were talking about elementals and angels and all that other stuff. As a practice, when I'm speaking about those things, I'm always calling them in. Okay. So, like elementals, when we were talking about that, I was asking, I'm like, hey, are you guys here with me right now? I'm asking if you're here with me now, let me know. Because
But you didn't say it out loud, just so people know,
yeah,
because they wouldn't have heard it.
I say it to them in my head, I guess you could say. So as I'm doing it, I get my normal ear tugs and all that, but those are my guides. And I'm like, okay, I know you're here, but I was wondering about the elementals and all that. Well, I turned around while everybody was talking, and I was just compelled to show. Lorilei was talking about some of the fae and the gnomes and elves.
And I have a problem with gnomes. I said I keep getting them, and you grabbed your gnome that you made.
Yeah, so I made a gnome. I made a couple gnomes actually, but it's back there. I'm not going to grab it because I don't want anything to break. But I grabbed the gnome and I brought it up to the here to show everybody. So if you go back to that last one, but when I grabbed the gnome, I don't know if you watched the last one, you'll hear a noise because something else fell off that counter, and I didn't see what it was. I didn't pay attention to it. And then after we did the show, I kind of sit here with myself and I'm like, where were you guys? I'm like, dude, I was like, I was kind of mad that I didn't get anything back from them. Anyway, that morning I looked down and I see what fell. What it was this is a palmistry hand. It's metal. But anyway, when it fell, the pinky broke. Okay. And when I fell, the pinky was even like this. It was tilted up here and it was broken.
Yes.
Now now here's the clincher of that. A year ago, I hurt my hand, and this is the same hand. My pinky is stuck. And this is what that was their sign. They broke the pinky off this to replicate my hand and dropped it on
right
the
where your injury is, exactly.
Yeah, and it's actually right where the injury is. Where this broke, it's right where the injury is. So I'm like, those dudes were so cool. But just to get back to it, those were elementals who did that, and that's kind of like their personality. They would do something like that. Let's break something of his and let them know we're there.
We're really gonna let them know we're here. I want to let Joy know something that I want to read Robin's comment. We got Steve White here. Good evening. We're gonna get to your comments, I promise. So Joy, you said, Laura David, what a wonderful, unexpected, pleasant surprise to see your lovely faces. Well, guess what, Joy? You can see us every Thursday because David is now on UPRN with me. This is a new show that we've started. I still have the Angel Rock on Monday nights, and David and I have put together this show. And what we do, we talk about the strange, the unusual. If you've got questions, if people, we do the unpredictable, predictable reading, depending on how much conversation we have. Because sometimes we get so in-depth in conversation, right, Dave? And we'll just do sort of an impromptu if something lights up when we're talking, right?
Yes.
So I thought I had to let her know. So this isn't a surprise. You can see us every Thursday now live. So Robin, you said hi, Howie, and you said I lost my missus in January, so I know how you feel, and you know my heart goes out to you, Robin. It really, really, really does, and I'm so sorry. And for anybody else who's lost someone, Leah, I noticed you mentioned hummingbirds, and you feel like it's a sign from your grandfather, and I'm going to say yes, because I feel the person that knows what a sign means. We can tell you, yeah, it's from your guys or it's from whomever. You were the one, I think, that discerns it the best, just like your own dreams.
She said earlier, she said sometimes it's just a feeling you get. And yes, you know what? Don't let anybody discount you. If it's a personal experience and it's a feeling you got, then that's most likely it. I like this question from Steve White, because my
He's been here too, I think. So welcome. And if you're just tuning in, you're listening to United Public Radio Network, or UPRN, also known as UFO Paranormal Radio Network. If you're listening and you want to join in the conversation, you can head to UFO Paranormal Radio on Facebook or YouTube. You can also go to David's YouTube channel, The Spirit Experience. I have my YouTube channel up as well, The Angel Rock with Lorilei Potvin. And we'll see your comments, and you can join in the conversation, because we love to involve the audience with the show. That's what makes the show, right, Dave?
That's because that's what we have fun on. All right,
okay.
Steve.
Okay, I'll read Steve's, and then I know David's like ready to go tonight. I'm kind of really mellow, and David's like, oh.
I've got an earful of people, so that's why.
Well, you know what it is, guys. I'm going to tell you, I had a half hour sleep, and it's been one of those days. So I'm just mellow. I'm not tired. So Steve says, "Good evening. Has a past loved one or friend ever given you a warning sign from the other side about something that was going to happen or fixing to happen? Just curious." Oh, I got an answer too. You go ahead, Dave, and then I got lots to say about that.
Yes, I get
Great
signs. Mine isn't always from loved ones. I do get signs directly from my guys. I've had to, from doing what I do and just being the connection that I would have, because I practice my connection literally every waking moment. But yes, they have told me to slow down. They have literally told me about people that I was going to meet. They have told me all kinds of those things. So yes, it does happen. It's never, though, I never personally, I don't know about anybody else, I don't get doom and gloom signs. It's normally just, hey, keep an eye out. This might happen. You're on this path right now. You might want to adjust it. And I'm like, okay, thank you. And I do. I have learned to freaking listen, because when I used to ignore it, going, oh, that's
it happens
stupid
to all of us, Dave, if we don't listen.
Yeah, we don't. I've sat there and go, I'm not going. Listen, one time, another story. I was going down to the beach after my brother passed away. Not that I go celebrate. I needed a time for myself. I had my GPS on to get to my hotel, and it took me to a hotel, and I pulled in, and I'm like, this isn't the hotel I put in the GPS. It wasn't. It was totally the wrong hotel. I walked in, and I'm like, hi, my GPS took me here. And I said, do you know where this hotel is? And they said, yeah, just go back out, to the main road where you were, and just go down about another like 3 blocks, and you'll run into it. I said, okay, thanks. And that probably took all of 10 minutes, not even. When I go to get onto the main road, there was a huge accident, like right the next stop. So if I would have kept going, I may have been involved in that accident. But because I turned off, I avoided that accident. So how do I know that's what it is? Because my GPS was set to my hotel, not another hotel. So it was odd. So yeah, you do get warning signs like that. Laura Lee's got some warning signs as well.
I do. So Dave's right about that, but I don't want to make it sound frightful. Mind you, I do know some people that have taken it if they don't listen to spirit, and some people will say first they gently nudge and gently whisper, then it gets a little louder, then it gets a little louder, and then they say they've kind of been hit over the head with it. It's basically most people I've heard talking about it, it's when they've been feeling that call towards this type of spiritual path and they've been fighting it tooth and nail, not wanting to. So yes, I've seen many, many things like this. I'm going to share a story actually from some hosts on our network that have talked about it, and I won't do it justice. It's Gary and Shona. No, I'm probably saying her name wrong. I'm so sorry. Fridays, the Allens Investigate. Yeah, Shona Marie. I love these people. Just went blank. You know how you do that sometimes? Anyways, they're both very intuitive. And they were heading out somewhere. Like these people have had crazy stuff happen. Like Gary knew he was going to marry her, hadn't asked her to marry him. He knew what day, bought the engagement ring. They hadn't even dated yet. Like they have a crazy story. They talked about it on the Angel Rock. It's a really cool story. But they were talking about this, and I forget how the story went, but they got some kind of message or sign, and Shona was pregnant with their daughter. And I think Gary was driving really, really quickly. And I don't know if it was Shona or it was Gary, but they were getting a message from Spirit. You really do need to slow down. And I guess because Shona was pregnant, Gary did. And they said, had they not slowed down, they were kind of on a windy, twisty type highway over in the UK. As they turned the corner, the road had been taken out, it had been washed out, and there were all these guardrails and stuff. They would have went right through and had a major horrific accident. So there's a sign from Spirit. As I call it Spirit collectively, and you may hear us say that within this field, because sometimes it's your guides, sometimes it's angels, sometimes it's a loved one, whatever it may be, right? Same thing for me. I don't get so many things in the way of because I don't really believe that if something is coming from a fear-based perspective or it feels negative or scary in nature, that's not coming from Spirit. Because I think it was one of you guys, it was Leah, I think you were asking your dad, I think you said not to scare the heck out of you and to let you know how it is on the other side. Our loved ones will never do something, nor will our guides, to bring us to a place of fear or a place of foreboding. Like David said, they may give you a suggestion. They're not going to tell you, you have to do this. Like they may say exactly what, I forget how you worded it, Dave. You said that you may want to do this, basically.
Yeah, it's kind of like that. It's like, hey, you may want to take a left or do this right here. And I'll be like, oh, okay, I will.
Okay, Shannon. Hi, Debbie. Shannon, I know this is Facebook user. This is Shannon. She's the one that she's not back at work. She's in Duluth, Minnesota. I know where that is. It's about 3.5 hours away from Thunder Bay here. So drive safe. Glad you guys got great news. I saw that on Facebook. Her hubby was there for some medical appointments and they're driving back. Watch out for the deer. Thank God the light stays out, because I'm telling you, man, have I seen some crazy sights driving to Duluth, Minnesota from my city? Like, honestly, I'll just ask you guys, have you ever seen like 100 deer all at once at night at twilight? Like we were driving down this dark road when I was with my first husband. I'm getting off track for a sec here. Maybe it was a sign. I don't know.
It was a sign. Yeah.
There was over 100 deer on this little motel lawn. I've never seen so many. They were all bedding down for the night. Actually, maybe it was a sign. You know why? Of course, wasn't aware of my gifts, and I wouldn't have twisted it in any way. But believe it or not, coming back from Duluth at that time, the U.S. side wasn't too happy about us Canadians coming over. This is a long time ago, because we kept shopping over there and we were driving your product, the price of your products up. It doesn't happen anymore. But we stayed at a hotel. Talk about being looked after by Spirit. And I always look at the bright side of things. I had a Firebird. We were driving. As we're coming home, I am literally 5-10 minutes away on the highway from my house, and the car starts shaking violently. So we pull over to the side of the road and we're thinking, this isn't a flat tire. What is it? Somebody had loosened all the lug nuts on all my tires. And I don't know if that was a sign. It was the same trip. We could have been killed. And the tires didn't come off. Mm-hmm.
Look up look up spiritual deer and see if there's anything in there.
Yes, because like I said, like this wasn't a few. Because where I live, and anybody like you lived in Wisconsin, Dave, you'll know this. Anybody that's lived in kind of North America, northern,
this
you
is
see deer everywhere on the roads, everywhere. Like, and no, we don't live in the middle of Timbuktu. It's just we're encroaching on their territory, right? So they're going to head in for food and okay, spiritual thing.
When I lived with Kevin before I moved to North Carolina here, me and Kevin my brother were roommates for a couple months. And this townhome we lived in, which was owned by one of the Packers back then, and I'm not going to say who it was because it was a slum hole. But anyway, so we lived in this, it was actually a pretty nice townhome. But the bedroom that I was in the middle of winter, there's a crack in the ceiling and it started leaking. So water started pouring in at some point. So my brother went up and tried to fix it and he taped all this stuff above the ceiling. My bed was kind of below it. During one snowstorm we had, I went to sleep and me and my cat Charlie were on my bed. Charlie all of a sudden got up and he started slapping me in the face. And then after he did that, I opened my eyes and he walked over to the door. This is before my coma. And he walked over across the room and I heard clear as day in my head, it said, "Move now." And I'm like, okay, I got up and I moved. The ceiling caved in on my bed. So that was one of the cooler things.
Oh my gosh.
That was, and fell on my bed. So me and the cat, well, although I probably wouldn't have been dead because it wasn't the whole roof, it was the ceiling, all the plaster, all the water. It just went whoosh on my bed. I would have been covered in ice cold water and wood and all that.
Oh.
That one right there was like a clear. That's why I tell people you need to pay attention. Sometimes those signs we get are to help you out.
And if you feel it, don't think you've imagined it. Just go with it. Like give yourself a day just to go with it and see if you follow if you're feeling a day where you feel it in your gut. People know what it is. They always say, I trust my gut. I'm going to follow it. Whatever you want to call it. You know when you know. Just follow it. Don't question it. Don't think, am I going crazy? Was that my imagination? Or was that a coincidence? Or just follow it and see what happens. I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised. I got the spiritual significance of deer. From the gentle doe to the mighty stag, the totem deer represents gentleness, innocence, intuition, and unconditional love. It was the next part that got me, as well as safety, strength, and protection. Deer are highly sensitive creatures and are highly intuitive, aware of subtle energies happening all around them.
Like it's very true with deers and intuition. When you see,
but the safety, maybe it was a sign. I wasn't aware of these types. Like I never seen that many deer ever.
Well, you probably can't remember back then. If you've seen that many deer, it might have been going, pay attention to your intuition. It's trying to tell you to go screw in your lug nuts.
I'm going to take your lug nuts off on your tires. Yeah, no, that wouldn't have been. But the thing is, I looked at it as a blessing, and that's where I look at things when I look back at them. Like Leah, I think, had mentioned with getting a flat tire could save you from getting in a bad accident. Or yes, and when my dad always used to love the Reader's Digest, even though I'm a nurse. He would never listen to me, and I used to tease him all the time. Dad, you'll never listen to me unless the Reader's Digest says it. And it's true. So anyways, and he's not an unintelligent man. And I used to say that to him, like, seriously, like I work in the medical field. And you're not going to believe me unless you find it in there. And so that was my big joke with him. So he used to buy me the Reader's Digest every year at Christmas. It was like a long-standing joke, right? I'll never forget this article I read. And this parent had made their kid, when they started driving, each one of them, this little green fuzzy pom-pom with little googly eyes, and she would stick it on the dashboard of the car. And she said, its name is Icky. And the reason why she called it Icky is because it stood for impatience can kill you, to remind her child when they're driving, no road rage, take your time, be patient, be safe, pay attention all around, because when you get impatient, it could kill you. I thought it was a good thing.
Icky. You can't be icky. Oh my goodness.
Well, you don't forget things like that, right? Like an anagram, if you will.
Oh, I do that stuff all the time. Earlier, I can't remember if it was Howie or Zach Mann talked about the 3 knocks Audible
Oh, that's
sign.
Howie with his ex-wife who let him know that
Audible,
she's on the other
you
side.
know what? For a spirit to make audible sounds, it's actually quite tiring. So for a spirit to give you an audible sound, that means I really wanted to. So that means even more. I know when you go do paranormal investigations, I love when I hear sounds after I put the question out. Um, I've had not tooting my own horn, but this is just how it works sometimes. There was a lady at this one place we went to, and there was all this stuff in this bedroom, like these dolls and stuff. But anyway, there's all these stories about it. But I walked in there and I kind of connected to that energy right away. So I was asking questions like, so are you really are you in this room? Are you mad about the dolls or this and that? And basically, from what I had gathered, it's like she's not in that room. She's not stuck in that place. She kept saying, I'm in two places. I'm in two places, meaning that she visits there and she goes back all the time. And after I was done, I got all that stuff. I was writing it down. I walked out of the room and I said, I need to know that you really told me that. And it wasn't, this, something else. And right after that, somebody walked into the room to put another doll in there, which was odd because nobody was there to put dolls in the room. And we were talking about that. So that was a sign from her to say, hey, yes, we did just have this conversation. What I told you was accurate. And I'm like,
Okay,
okay.
here's a good sign. I'm going to give you another example. I'm going to read Zach's comment quickly. So Zach says, I've seen several does and fawns on my aunt and uncle's front lawn near my grandfather's farm in rural Pennsylvania. I turned the porch light on and they were all staring at me. LOL. I could just see all the eyes, just like deer in a headlight, right? With the lights on. That I can just picture that, Zach. Robin, I saw your comment here. I'll try and connect you and Howie afterwards because he doesn't go by Howie on Facebook. You guys are both in the paranormal world and you guys both do podcasts. So that, because I know I'd seen your comment there. No, I said I was going to give you, that's what it was. So my eldest son is quite intuitive, but he will contact me. I don't always, my bio gets too long, but I do medical intuitiveness as well. So I can scan people. My youngest will always say to me, he was sick on Sunday with a fever and a sore back. And he'll say, feel it, mommy, feel it. Because he knows I can feel it, right? So my kid contacted me last night and he works with Indigenous, Two-Spirit youth and First Nations women as well. And he loves what he does. And he had asked for some assistance with somebody that was missing. I did send it to Dave and I sent it to one other friend because you know what? Sometimes it's good to have a little posse together to see what we get. And you're going to see why I'm saying this. We were getting ready for our live. I had a day from heck yesterday. This week's just crazy. I hadn't even had time to breathe. And as I'm talking to my son, I said, I don't even know if I can tune in. And I did. But I always like to get a little evidential proof sometimes. So the other friend started picking up almost identical things that I did. And I'm not telling you this to say I'm so great at this. What I'm telling you is sometimes it's nice to look for the signs and to get evidential proof. So like you said, like Dave with the doll, you said, prove to me that I just didn't hear that from somebody else. You can ask that of spirit or your loved ones or other ones, because if they're letting you know they're there, right? Especially your loved ones, if they can comply, they will, to let you know it's them. And that's what I'm saying. And when we get that evidential proof, it helps to build our confidence with connecting with the other side and realizing that it's not just all our imagination. Like David, you've said the same thing as I have. I just didn't realize I was hearing spirit because I do hear it my own voice. David hears it differently and we all do. But you said after your near-death experience, your gifts definitely tuned up quite a bit, right? Like with the
Yeah, and then I had things that I couldn't do before that I could do afterwards. Like I didn't do psychometry before that, and I just inherently knew how to do that. I also did not speak to dead animals, but they were just coming in left and right.
That's pretty good with live animals, I can tell you, because my dog was having a problem with my previous neighbor's dog out of the blue. And Dave didn't even see a picture of her. He heard her barking outside. My dog will bark a bit. So do you remember? I don't know if you remember that, Dave. You
Yeah, because in her bark, I could tell like I've got something to say.
well, no, I'm going to say what you said. You connected with Emmy because she said, may I? Because she was barking. And then you go, Oh my, is she ever chatty? Remember what I said to you? Well, look at her mother.
Yeah, she was a chatty dog. Yeah, I can hear animals. I can hear them in my head, but they don't talk to me like a human.
Mhm.
It's like rapid fire picture and thoughts. I was trying to explain to somebody. I talked to this person that I did a reading for the other day, and we talked for like another hour afterwards. And I was trying to explain to him, and it's so hard to explain how for me when someone comes through you we I merge with them. So it's like the energies are almost like that because you're like blending with that
Mhm.
energy and they place the thoughts over my thoughts and basically I'm pushed to the side. So I have no
You're
choice.
almost channeling.
Yeah, it's like channeling. It's like channeling pretty much every reading I do. I have no choice but to speak the thought that's coming through. So it doesn't hurt and it doesn't annoy me. I expect it. I
Mhm.
can listen to it as it's being said too. So that's kind of cool. Signs, back to that. Remember the movie Signs with the aliens? Do you remember?
Okay, yeah. Mhm.
That was another one. Sometimes prophecies are signs. So we've been getting signs from about world things all the time. In fact, I did a video today on TikTok because, and I said that like everybody, we have underlying themes on this planet or with people of what you're here to learn. So whatever you're here to learn, you have different themes like temperance or anger. And you have to learn to love yourself, whatever. Um, and I had that this is a large sign that came, and it's a large sign. And the large sign was a lot of this world is learning acceptance. And they said a lot of people are failing, but they said there's also a lot of people who are not, and they're coming over. So acceptance is a world sign. It's a sign from spirit that had to do with the world, not a prediction, but it's kind of like just inside information. If you guys pay attention to anybody you talk to or anything, or listen to them and just how they talk or anything else, you can see where the acceptance is trying to be learned or trying to ignore it. So
Okay,
that's
so I'm gonna read. Sorry, Dave, go ahead.
no, go ahead.
Sorry. Oh, so we have Anna Iva here. She says hi. She said, "Can we ask psychic questions?" We do sometimes do an unpredictable, predictable reading sometime in the 2 hour show, but we don't do the whole show doing readings. But you're welcome to hang around and ask some questions. We're talking about signs from spirit tonight. Leah, that's not a dumb question. Howie, I see that. I'm going to make a note of it because it's a Saturday. So if you can send me a little bit of info on Facebook about what time, because Dave works on Saturdays, I can hang out with you for as long as you like, but it just depends too. And hopefully David could be there too, because I love when we do stuff together, right, Dave?
Yeah, if it's that night, I might be able to.
Yeah, let us know what time, and because otherwise, whatever, I'm in no hurry on weekends. So Leah, let's talk. Let's answer this question, but I'm going to give Sandra's comment too because I think this is super sweet. She goes, "Dave heard my cat complaining about his hip."
I think I remember that. Yeah.
So Leah said, "Are parts of animals' souls human?" I'm sorry if that's dumb. And I'm going to say to you, I think somebody said that last night on our live. And I
It's
had a
not.
teacher that told me this. And you know what? The only question that's dumb is the one you don't ask. And can I take this just for a sec, Dave, and then you can
Yeah.
jump in?
Yeah.
So I don't believe that parts of animal souls are human. The way I look at it is everything has a soul on this planet. Everything's energy, right? We have some type of soul energy. I get why you're asking if our animals' souls are human because of the, if you want unconditional love, right? And the epitome of an earth angel, it's an animal, right? We
Yeah.
could learn so much from animals if we really just modeled our lives after them, even wild animals. Like I've seen many a video that animals are supposed to be complete enemies and they hunt one another, but nobody's hungry and they're all hanging out together, just having a good time. They don't kill because they need to kill. They do what they need to do to eat. It's kind of understood on that plane. But no, as far as I know, they are not. They are not human. But I completely get why you asked that. Go ahead, Dave. I can hear Dave's going like his thoughts.
Because I kind of know this question well. Yes, on what Lorilei said. Animals, here, let me explain it like this. The thing that separates a soul on the other side or a spirit on the other side isn't what it looks like or who it is. It's the knowledge gained. It's knowledge and expansion. So it comes from experience. Okay. Now, knowing that, what you said were are animals part of a human soul? No, it's the other way around.
They're here to
Everybody,
help us.
we human is like a big. I mean, human. If you're a human soul now, you have been around for a freaking long time because you started out as a soul just becoming today, just becoming aware of yourself when you were first here, whenever that was, it's forever. But when you leave the space that you're part of, you're aware of yourself, then you become everything. So we've all been the wind, we've been flowers, we've been plants, we've been dogs, we've been cats, we've been animals, we've been amoeba, we've been dirt, we've been all that. Not necessarily here, but we've experienced that or had to learn from that. Animals are animals pretty much. Some of them stay animal, but the ones you name, the ones that you care about and has a human connection to humans
That's a
at
gift.
some point could become a human soul. That's way, way down the line. So it's the other way around, though. Animals are basically animals. It's very understood. We're still all one, whether
Mm-hmm.
we're suffered or not. Even scary things and evil things, we're still all one. You can't separate anything. So I always laugh at people. They go, "It's a demon, damn them to hell." Well, you're still part of that demon because that demon came from the same source you did, dear. But the same for animals, but it's not a dumb question at all. It's more of a
Howie
confusion.
said, good question, Leah. Howie, I forgot it is Sunday. I looked it up. Dave still works on Sundays. So his days off are Wednesdays and Thursdays, right, Dave? I'm giving your whole schedule out here. I'm not meaning to, but it's
And
not.
I usually don't do any readings on Sunday night, but once in a while I'll do. Once in a while, if I can, I'll do like certain shows. That's kind of like my right now. It's kind of like if something comes up on a Sunday, you can do it night. So
Robin says he's on YouTube watching now. Awesome. We're just glad you're watching.
we're
So
celebrities.
I
It's a
should.
sign.
What's that, Dave?
I said it's a sign.
No, we're not. I should just remind you guys we're at the top of the hour here. You're listening to UFO Paranormal Radio Network on 105.3 and 107.7 out of New Orleans, Louisiana. And you're listening to or watching The Thing at the Foot of the Bed with David Hanzel and myself, Lorilei Potvin. I also host my own show on the network on Mondays, The Angel Rock from 6 to 8 p.m. David also has an active TikTok over like amazing. He answers questions. And you also do a podcast. You may as well throw it in there quick too.
Yep,
How
I
do you
do. I have another podcast. It's pre-recorded. It's short form. I just answer like really in-depth questions that I can't answer on TikTok or in like real life because it's my podcast. I can do whatever I want. So
yeah.
I can talk about those things. It's called Mystic Stew, and you can find it's just about everywhere. It's like on 9, 10 different platforms someplace. But I talk about all kinds of stuff in short form usually. So if you have a little attention span, it's going to be good for you. Hi, Nicole.
It gives you a little more time, right, Dave? Like to be able to answer because you only got 3 minutes on TikTok, right? So it gives you a little bit more
I
time.
can go up to 10 minutes now, but nobody watches a 10-minute TikTok.
I do. If it's really interesting, like I'll tell you, okay, when I'm bad, Dave and I usually don't talk. We're usually on the same page when we connect either on Wednesday or Thursdays. This week we decided early. Dave had this idea about the signs, and I said, what a fantastic idea, because we get answered all about it. Now, I don't know if there's somebody out there, I keep hearing this from my guides, that I don't know why. It's not really to do with signs, but there's so many of us. I was one of them when I was rediscovering my gifts years ago. We all want to know, you're sitting in a room with a bunch of people and everybody's experiencing something. Maybe you're taking a class and everybody, you go through meditation and you'll have a mentor say to you, you're going to meet somebody in this meditation as you walk through and they're going to give you a gift. I know one of my mentors used to do that with her Akashic records. And invariably, there was always one or two people that never felt anything. They never experienced anything. And then it starts to happen more and more. And then some anxiety starts to build up. And then you start thinking, I don't have that gift. Obviously, there's something wrong with me. And it goes on and on. And that's why what I keep hearing from Spirit is that when we access this ability that we have, it's meant to flow. And it's really weird because you think of anything else we do in life, the harder we work at something and the more effort we put into it and we really strive for it and we really want it, then it comes to us, but that's not how it works. Like Spirit's always shown me, it's just kind of like water and it flows. And so just because maybe you're one of those people, you may be listening on the replay, I'm not sure, but somebody I'm hearing needs to hear this. Give yourself grace. Trust that it will happen. Keep working on living in joy, practicing gratitude, as well as trying to do a little bit of meditation. Recently found an amazing meditation on YouTube called The Sip of the Divine with Suzanne Giesemann. It's 3-minute meditation and it's incredible. So check her out sometime if you can, but I hope maybe that'll help someone. But I have a guy that keeps telling me this over and over. Sorry, Dave, were you going to say something?
It's okay. No, I was going to answer the Liam Psychic. What show can we ask psychic questions? They're not psychic questions. They're questions like from TikTok about near death and about all these other things. So I do that on TikTok, and I answer the long ones that are kind of difficult to answer on my Mystic Stew. Mystic Stew, I can get like really deep, and I really go down the rabbit hole. So you'll like it like that. Hi, Nicole.
Hang on. I'm sending you a quiet message here on StreamYard. You'll be able to see it, but nobody else will. Just a hosty type message for you. Anyway, sorry, getting back to this. Sorry, guys. Oh, I'm on the wrong thing. We got a new comment. I was on our background again. Sorry. Well, that's okay. You can, lots of times with TikTok too, what I find happens is the shorts get uploaded either on YouTube or on Facebook. Yours are all on your YouTube, aren't they, Dave?
My not every TikTok is on my YouTube, but some of them
aren't they?
I've been putting them on there now. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I've been putting that in there now. There was another question up here I wanted to ask. Somebody had like something so cool, and where did it go?
Oh, do you want me to go up? Hi, Jane. I was just thinking about you. I'm glad you're here. I hope your appointment went well. Okay, so I'm going to go up a little bit, and you see if you see it, Dave.
Okay, nope, I didn't see it. That's okay. I can't remember. I had something queued up in my head that I was going to... Oh, I remember already. No, it's not from a question. You guys, here's something really interesting. Children make the best vessels. So sometimes listen to children when they talk to you, because they might say something to you that's going to go, wait, that's something mom would have said, or that's something this would have said. Children give complete permission.
So much to add to this.
Yeah, no, I know you would. And children are conduits. They are, and they're very protected. Don't worry, there's not someone possessing them. It's literally divine inspiration to the child to say certain words to you. In order for you to, get the message. So that happens not only through children, but it also happens through everyday people. Somebody might walk up to you in the grocery store and just say 4 words that you needed to hear that day for some reason, and you weren't gonna pay attention to some spirit giving you some invisible voice in your head. You needed to hear it.
I'm going to tell you a story. Oh, sorry, Dave. I've got a bit of a delay, so it'll seem like he stopped. I'm sorry. Finish your thought. I apologize.
Oh, that was it.
Okay. So I don't watch TV, but my partner Dell's always watching something on YouTube or a podcast or whatever. And I'm always working on resin or craft stuff right in the kitchen, so I can hear the TV. And I hear this guy talking, and I'm going, holy crap, this stuff this guy's saying is really interesting. I've got to see who this is. So I sit down and I start listening. And I'll explain in a minute what he was talking about. But anyways, I'm thinking, how can I get a hold of this guy? I got to have him on my podcast. Looking. He was already on my friends list. I didn't even know he was, but his name is Garnet Michael Schulhauser. He's a lawyer. This guy had no inclination for spirit in any way, shape, or form. It's supporting what you just said about people walking up to you. He goes out for lunch, and he's towards the end of his career as a lawyer. He's been doing this for 40 years. He lives in Calgary. And normally he says there's lots of homeless people, like there are in many cities, but especially big cities. He goes, there's this man sitting there. He is absolutely filthy, smelly, stringy, dirty hair. And he goes, however, it was his eyes. They were the most brilliant sky blue. And he had the most incredible sensation of love. He said, like a love he had never felt. And no, I'm not going towards anything other than a feeling. Okay, so this isn't going to end in a relationship or something is where I'm going. So all of a sudden he stops, he forgets about lunch, Garnet, and he follows this guy. This guy goes into a store. He goes into the store. He can't find this guy anywhere. And he can't get this guy out of his head. And he really stressed, like he would never stop. And he would look at somebody like this, right? So he can't get this guy out of his head. He keeps going back to the same place for lunch, same place for lunch, same place for lunch. But a week later, he runs into this guy again. And he stops to talk to him. And this guy introduces himself as Albert. Albert, now this is Garnet's experience and his story. He says Albert introduced himself to him as his spirit guide. He said he's only run into him 3 times physically. Now they connect on a psychic, if you will, level. He's written many books. He goes around talking about it. He has incredible stories and experiences. But my whole thing is, and I think I asked him on the podcast when I interviewed him. I interviewed him about 1.5 years ago. I said to him, do you think that had you heard that voice or intuitively felt it, would you have listened to it? He goes, absolutely not. No way, shape, or form. So in his experience in this lifetime, he built, I guess they made this agreement, and with Albert being his guide, and it was a time for him to shift into a light worker type of career. I guess he built this into his lifetime experience possibly as well. Yeah. So that's why that happened. But I can tell you can look up, there are all kinds of stories about people that somebody shows up in an accident and just happens to be a doctor and is able to do a life-saving maneuver that nobody could do, and you turn and the guy's gone or the woman's gone, and it happens all the time. As for children, very quickly, with children, when I'm working with people with paranormal experiences, first thing I'll ask them usually, do you have small children or do you have animals? Because I truly believe that both are so pure of heart and pure of soul that I almost believe we come in, we still know who we are as little people. And as we start getting a little older, about 4 or 5 years, maybe we start to realize, like Dave, you can remember stuff back when you were young.
I can now, for some weird reason.
There are people, like I just saw the most incredible video. Oh my God, I was in tears. Little guy had to be 2 years old and his dad had passed away. That's the story when it was a short video. And he's talking to his mom and she's got him on camera and she's filming him, thinking he's so cute, right? And he's turning his head and he's going, Dada, Dada, Dada. And she's going, what are you looking at, baby? What are you looking at? Then he turns and he keeps pointing. There's a picture of him as a newborn with his dad. And he keeps going to the picture and going to the back, going to the picture, going to the back. There are so many videos like that. I always ask people, like I said, if you have small children, what are your children seeing? What are they interacting with? I always counsel people too when we're mentoring with spiritual things. If you've got a young child that has an imaginary friend, I truly believe it's not an imaginary friend. It's not about it. Ask them, get some details if they're willing to talk about it. If they're not, sometimes they'll let you know through play therapy and stuff like that, right? There's lots of things you can do with children, but I would ask them because there's some really interesting information they can give you from the other side. They can definitely give you messages. I know Dave's giant jump in.
It's weird with children. A lot of children still have Even though they don't express it, they still have a memory of where they just came from. So they're still kind of still connected. So like Lorilei says, pay attention to your children. I think
Absolutely.
from day one, when kids started having imaginations, we should not you know what? Adults ruin the word imagination because one, imagination, the right side of your brain, that is where all the magic happens from the other side and everything else. That's how they get through. They can't get through your analytical mind because that's the ego side. So we should have been telling children from day one when they said they saw something, we should have said, what's their name or who are they? Are they nice? Are they good? What are? Give me a background and encourage children instead of telling them it's just your imagination.
You're
And
too old for that kind of stuff to have an imaginary friend. You're too old for this. It's just your imagination. Why don't
I
we
tell people
explore
now,
this?
I laugh with some of my friends now, and I'm like, I'm going to go talk to the invisible people. And they always laugh
You
at
have
me.
great parents. You're a great parents.
Like I just like to, I just tell people all kinds of weird stuff. Nicole Thomas says,
Okay, can I stop just for 1 sec? I just want to add one thing really quick. I was writing it down so I didn't forget. Leah,
absolutely.
you said, I feel like my attention span is awful when trying to meditate. I'm going to leave a note, okay? Or if I think I have you on Facebook, but if I don't, I'll try and find you or find me. I'm going to send you the link to that YouTube channel called The Sip of the Divine. It's 3 minutes, and it doesn't have to be quantity. It is quality. There is no space and time on the other side. There's many different types of meditation you can do. It doesn't just mean just sitting on a rock, sitting here in the lotus position for an hour or two. Okay, there's many different ways. You can break it up in little bits and pieces if you need to. But like I said, I'm going to send you the Sip of the Divine. 3 minutes a day. That's it. We could all get 3 minutes, right? Go ahead, Dave. Sorry.
I would say that too. 3 minutes is all you need to start. Basically, meditation is just going within. It's, you know what else you can do for meditation? Learn to pay attention to your breath. Meditation, the best way when you start meditation, because people sit in a little chair and they try to have a blank mind. It is almost impossible unless you have been doing this for a long time. The best thing to do is just breathe in and feel the breath. Notice the breath. Breathe it out. Notice the breath. Notice that breath. Every time that something comes into your head to distract you, say, okay, I got you, and go right back to your
Yeah, like
breath.
even if you want to imagine it like a cloud, it's just,
Yep.
okay, got you. Yeah, okay, on you go. If you really if you're one of those people, and we can all be this way, we say you got a crazy day and you got a bunch of things you got to do and you can't clear your mind, have a piece of paper and a pencil. Write
Yep.
down what that thought is while you're trying to meditate. Clear it. It's on paper. You're not going to forget it. And you move on.
Exactly. And there's actually like writing meditations, eating meditations, mindful meditation. There's a billion different meditations.
Binaural beats,
Yeah.
megahertz, there's
And
breathing, soma breathing, there's guided meditations,
like
there's
Laura
all
Lee said, I agree with Laura Lee though. In the morning, if you can find 3 minutes, sit there for 3 minutes, put your timer on, just pay attention to your
that's
breath
what
for
she tells you. The reason why I bring this lady up, okay, she worked with one of the highest security military people with your government in the US, like with the president office. She had no interest in being a medium or spiritual. And what happened was they lost their only grandchild because it was their stepdaughter. She was in the military too. None of them had any religious beliefs. They were raised to be atheists, okay? And her daughter, stepdaughter Susan, died. I think she got hit by lightning or something. She was 6 months pregnant. And she said, I just couldn't accept that she was gone. So she said, I used to sit there and just in the dark, in the quiet, and say, Susan, are you there? Susan, send me a sign. Susan. And this woman has become a pretty big spiritual teacher. You may not know her name, but you'll see her. Like if you see her, I bet you'll recognize her. She's now a medium. She does trance channeling. She does all kinds of stuff. And she never intended. This all happened from trying to connect with her. And she did connect with her stepdaughter, by the way.
I was gonna say a lot of people never intend this. It's the ones that never intended it just kind of happens. You're like, what the hell? Hey, is anybody on here? Does anybody here on right now? Oh yes, paranormal. You have one. How many people here do paranormal investigations, because I've always wanted to wonder this. Don't you think that before you did a paranormal investigation, you would sit by yourself and meditate for a moment on an intention? Because I wondered if you're in that state when you start and if like in meditation, it kind of lingers on a little bit. So after you meditate and come out of it, you're just still very calm. The energy is still going around you. I wonder if that would help with more personal experiences or not. What do you think, Lorilei?
Can you repeat that? Sorry, I was reading Sandra's. Just the last line. You were asking me. I heard everything. Just the last line because I was reading Sandra's comment, which I'll bring up in a second.
Okay. I was saying that if paranormal investigators did like a little meditation before they went on the investigation, I wonder if that would help them with their paranormal personal experiences, because their vibration is going to be up there. If your vibration is up there when you go in there, spirit's vibration is going to match with you.
Okay, so what's coming to me though, Dave, is I think it's all about intention though, right? Like we've met people like this. I'm not saying it with judgment, and there's nothing wrong if you go in with skepticism either. What I'm talking about is people that go in there, that go in with the attitude that they're going to rile everything up and they want crazy stuff to happen. And they're, even if they meditated, I don't think they'd be able to hold that frequency, because I think it's all about mindset. And I hear what you're saying, being calmer, and definitely your vibration would be higher than what you would be without meditation. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I should have clarified. I'm not talking about the ones who go and stir up trouble and do that.
Oh, you didn't tell me that. Then yes. And Brandy Reader, welcome, Brandy. She goes, I think it would definitely help.
Yeah, those people to me, they're not real investigators. They're just trying to get a TV show.
Okay, I was thinking about 100%. And guess what, guys? And if you did meditate before, like Brandy says, she thinks it would definitely help. Spirit recognizes energy and intentions. That's what I was going to say.
Brandy Reader is a really good investigator too.
Okay, so what I was going to add though, okay, so I agree with what she's saying. So if you meditated as a paranormal investigator before you went in, set your intentions during that meditation. Talk to your guides. Even if you can't hear them, they can hear you, and you can let them know what you're hoping to accomplish or experience on that investigation. Then absolutely. So I agree 100% with Brandy.
Yeah, I think I wondered if that would help. I only say that because every time that I've done an investigation, I always meditate. But then again, I'll meditate before I go to the bathroom. I mean, I just love to do that couple minutes of just being with yourself.
Don't you crave it though? Because I went away on something with the group that we used to be involved with. Okay, and I always thought I love people. I love being around people. I had no idea, because I am empathic too, as well. I had no idea, like when I was with so many people and I had no time to myself, like I literally felt like a piece of me was missing. Like I was so craving that quiet time and meditation, because I didn't realize how many things I talk over with spirit, like to get their perception on like, what do you think? They're not telling me what to do, but they're a sounding board, because I do spend a lot of time on my own because I've been off for so long, but you don't realize it, right? Until it's gone or it's not there.
There's a difference between being on your own and like just totally being within yourself. I mean, not to get all spiritual on you guys, but listen, I tell you, if you learn how to meditate, it opens up way more doors than it's almost like learning how to meditate is like adding a megaphone to your soul. I mean, you can literally hear it, shout it out back. It's just a lot easier that way.
Yeah, but meditation too, I always tell people, like CEOs are encouraged to do it, professional athletes, because it can improve every aspect of your life. And 15 minutes of meditation, depending on who you talk to and what study you read, they have shown that it is akin to at least 45 minutes to an hour and a half of sleep.
Oh yeah.
So there you go. Right?
That's I love hypnosis. I go under like that. And I love hypnosis. What was this, like an hour of hypnosis therapy is equivalent to an entire 8 hours of restful sleep. And I think that's why at the end, when they wake you up, they always say sleep when you want to.
Okay, so, but the other thing, think about it, right? Depending on what level, like we're not going to go into the theta and omega levels and things with hypnosis. But when we daydream, or we've all done this, okay, we've lived in our city forever, we've had a long day, we're in traffic, it's warm, right? You get in the car, turn it on, next thing you know, you're home. And you go, how the heck did I get home? I don't even remember driving. Guess what?
Yeah.
You were in a state of hypnosis, or you're
Yep.
daydreaming. We do it naturally, and meditation. So Sandra says, I'm a certified hypnotist. So I wanted to read this comment by Sandra because this is a real area of interest for me. I have done so much study with this, and I think it's incredible. I love hearing kids' stories about this. And so Sandra says, a friend's toddler was talking to us recently about the mommy he had the last time he was little. I would believe it 100%, especially if he could give you the name, because I'm going to tell very quickly about the story. There's thousands of them and research too. But there was a boy in India that had the strange birthmark. I believe it was on the back of his neck, right here up into his head. And he kept going on and on and on and on and on that he passed away. He was murdered, that he was a man. He left his wife behind. He left all his children, and how much, what?
Was it the hatchet?
No, no, I believe it's a hatchet or a gun. But don't get the story away yet, Dave. He knows it. We've probably talked about it. So anyways, he'd never been to the city before, but he was driving his parents insane. So they finally relented. They thought maybe he'll just get it out of his system. He knew exactly what house to go to. He recognized his wife. And this kid's like a little kid. He knew all the kids by name. He knew everybody. And then his murder had never been solved. Guess what? Where his birthmark was, that's where he had been murdered in his previous life. He showed the police who did it and where the hatchet was buried.
Oh,
so that happened.
See, there's another one like that was in that.
There's thousands.
Yeah, there's another little young kid who was saying how he was murdered in his life before here, and he actually took the people to the place where he was murdered. They dug up the weapon, which was still there, and so was the body. And well, the skeleton was at that point, but he knew it in the name. So yeah, that's that. All listen to those. There's two types of people in this world. If there's like the people who, if they hear, hey, let's watch kids say the darndest things, and they'll run over to Bill Cosby and listen to the kids talk about mommy. I mean, okay, but then there's the people
from Bill.
Yeah, but then there's the people that run over like us. Like when I go, kids say the darndest things. I want to hear their past life stories. Those are the places I go after. I think that is so cool.
I have a friend that has twin granddaughters, and when they were really little, one of the girls was named after a great aunt, and she had the same red hair. And the kids were learning sign language. They weren't speaking yet, but they were about 11 months old. And she swears, she's in the spiritual field. She asked her, are you great aunt so-and-so? And the little girl said, yes, I am. And she couldn't speak yet. She nodded. And I know this woman to be very truthful. I think children remember a lot until as they start to get a little bit older. And like people are sharing stuff in here, same things. I am utterly fascinated by these past life stories of children, because we all know how innocent children are, right? Like, don't get me wrong. Once kids start getting 7, 8, 9, they're getting a bit more worldly. But when you've got a toddler or, even 3, maybe almost 4, and the things they're saying, the things they're telling you, and they don't watch a lot of TV or anything. I'm sorry, but I believe what they're saying. Or like you said, Sandra, this little one was asking, or talking about who his mommy was and before the mommy he has now. Now, Brandy says, I feel like meditating can also be in many forms, such as gardening and creating. I agree, because guess what? That's when I do my meditation mostly, is at night. I'm a night hawk and everybody's asleep. and I'm mindlessly doing micro painting on resin or pouring stuff. And guess what? I am like deep in conversation with spirit in meditation. Definitely.
I used to wire wrap crystals, and I did mindful meditation during that.
Wait,
And
I learn something new about you every day. I did not know that. This was a YouTube video that I did. Just it's the crappiest wire, but I didn't know what I was doing.
too. I only did it for like a year and all, and I got
Mhm.
I got to show you guys something. If you can, I don't know if you guys can see this.
You got to hold it. Okay, there. Okay.
Can you see
Yeah, yeah.
that? And it doesn't look like it now, but if you see me with short hair and everything, that's my Uncle Neil. My middle name is Neil.
It's Neil.
I was named after him.
Okay.
When I never knew him. If you see his kid pictures of him, me and him stand alike, smile and laugh and all this. And he was really wacky. When he was, I believe it was about 23, 24, he got diagnosed with Hodgkin's disease, and he died shortly afterwards. So he didn't live very long. Guess what happened when I was 24 years old? They took me to the hospital because they thought I might have Hodgkin's disease. And they ended up doing, my lymph nodes started to go crazy, but I didn't have it at all. I was just getting the symptoms, and they couldn't understand why. And they went away then. But they did the surgery to take out the lymph node, which is not a big deal. It's like a little cut.
Do you think maybe you were still carrying some of that trauma from that life if you were really your uncle, which is
I don't know. You know what? I don't know, and I guess I don't really care. I have a connection to him for some reason. I always have. I also have a connection to my real grandmother, my mom's real mom, who looks a lot like me as well. But my mom only knew her mom for a year, and I never met her. Well, I probably had, but I mean, I haven't met her here.
Interesting. I wanted to add something that just came up, and I don't know why, so Spirit must want me to talk about it. But since we're kind of talking a little bit about past lives and remembering who we are and what, one of the most fascinating things, and I have seen this as a nurse. Sorry, I was erasing. I used pencil. I wrote on the wrong side of my little fuzzy book. This is the cover. I wanted it on here for you, Leah, to remember about the Sip of the Divine. Actually, what I'll do is I'll post it on the YouTube, on the Facebook page with it's pinned right to the top of my profile, and you get anybody that wants to access it, you guys can, about the meditation, the 3-minute meditation. Okay, so I've seen this myself, and very mildly, but I've still seen it with blood transfusions. Many a person who's received a blood transfusion will report liking foods that they never liked before, or vice versa, having memories that they never had before, and so on. Okay, allergies, but I can tell you beyond a shadow of a doubt, organ transplants, people get their mood, they get the person, they don't know who it came from, they'll get their memories, they will get all kinds of things from organ transplants.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
So how does that happen, right? How does that happen?
A little molecule of us is in everything else. So, yeah,
That's
I would say, yeah, I think that sounds kind of cool.
I think it's amazing. I think, like, there's our proof. We're looking for signs. There's some proof right there.
If anybody, and Lorilei, I'll give this, we don't have to discuss it now, but I just want to send you down the rabbit hole. Okay. Now that we're doing the past lifey thing for a second. And audience, anybody listening, you guys, if you
talking about it.
You do paranormal stuff, I want to present something to you. And I've thought about this, and people always go, why don't you just ask your guides? I'm like, because they don't tell me everything.
Okay, well, let's talk about it, because I love talking about this kind of stuff.
So this is the rabbit hole I wanted to go down.
Did you pull this deck out tonight?
Huh?
I haven't pulled this deck out tonight.
Oh, cool. Oh,
it's
good.
Right here. I have it here.
So did you ever wonder if when you did a paranormal investigation, or if there is a spirit in a house that's haunted and it's, well known that they know about it, do you think possibly at some point one of those spirits may be the past life of somebody else that's still in existence because that first person left already? You know what I'm saying? I'm wondering if we can switch over dimensions, and sometimes, like, a lot of times, how many times have you seen ghosts in period clothing? Lots. And like I said, I had talked to people who had said that yes, the ghosts of them is there and people see it, but they told me that they're actually not really there. They're just visiting, but people assume that they're ghosts. So I wonder if some point some spirits could just be the past life of somebody that's still existing.
Oh, so okay, so then let's go a bit further. So now, are you thinking both residual hauntings and intelligent hauntings, or just a residual haunting? Because a residual, right, is, oh, go ahead.
Yeah, intelligent.
Ooh, okay, so if it was intelligent, oh, now I got to find this answer out. And we'd love to hear your thoughts on this, guys. You're putting great comments here. No, because I love talking about topics like this. So, okay, but okay, sweetie, I have to address this. Amanda, yeah, we don't just do readings on this show, honey. You're welcome to stay. But we talk about kind of spooky and scary stuff, or if you have questions about, your spirit guides and things like that. Okay. So, I know maybe you're thinking of, we do have some shows that have shows like that just do readings, but David and I get into a lot of discussions. You're welcome to stay in and join the conversation. But yeah, we don't just sit and do readings, and I wanted to address it because we're missing comments from other people.
Oh, you mean Anna? Oh, are you talking about Anna? Not Amanda.
No, this is Amanda has come here and is telling us you need to send them my picture.
Mm-hmm. No, I think you're thinking about.
No, I'm not. I'm thinking about this person right here.
Oh, that one. Gotcha.
Yeah. There's two of them. So that I know you guys are getting confused, but I do want to remind you that we have so many hosts from all around the world and so many different types of shows. There's shows for everybody here, something for them. Some hosts like Faye and Roger Garza, they've got a show on Wednesday nights. They do readings. Saturdays, This Mug's for You. I'll actually be on the last half of that show on Saturday. Paul, oh God, his name, Francis, he's over in the UK. He does that type of thing with readings, but most of the shows on here don't do that type of thing. From time to time, David and I will do what we call the predictable reading, which means that if something lights up for us, but we just don't sit there and do psychic readings, and I don't want you to feel misled. So that's what I was asking, if my spirit guides, well, they're actually guides. Maybe you do have guides, I don't know, but it's okay. I just wanted to clarify for you. I didn't want you to think we were ignoring you, but I did let Anna know as well. And we'd love to have you be part of the conversation, but we're not just doing readings, nor do we on this show.
Yeah. Sam said she has regression stories, but
I know I'm going through all this stuff. Hang on. Okay. So where are we going?
So what are your thoughts on, I mean, I don't know.
Okay, I got distracted. Okay, let me finish this because I'm super excited about this. And David knows how I get, because you guys do too. You've seen me enough. Okay, so could it be possible? Absolutely. Now, we talked about this, I think, was it last week or the week before, where we have a little piece of our soul that still resides, what we call back home, heaven, whatever your belief is, right? And the past, present, and future is all happening at the same time. There is no time. So could we have had what we call a past life? It's not really a past life. It's happening at the same time. Yeah. So yes, as I'm talking this through, I believe absolutely that could happen. Now imagine, would you cause a time anomaly? Wait. Would you cause a time anomaly if you talk to your past self while you're there in real form?
Well, people say that if you do, it does change things, but I think it's okay, because we do meditations now actively talking to our higher selves and to our younger selves and to our future selves. But the ghost thing, like what you said, because that's what I was wondering. And
like a paradox, like a time paradox, because you're actually talking to yourself, a portion of yourself.
Yeah, you could. No, you guys, the day that I can validate this with actual validation, trust me, I will do it.
You better have a darn camera.
There's something to prove something.
Can you imagine the damage David and I would do if we lived in the same city? We'd be going to every spooky home to come back with our research for you guys next week.
You know what? I'd be like a Jehovah's Witness, just knocking on doors. Hi, could we come in and see if there's a ghost?
Can we talk to you about the ghost at your house?
Have you found the spirit? Not the Holy Spirit, the one hiding in your closet. Let's talk to that one.
Nicole has a good question, but I want to read Brandy's she asked a good question. So Brandy said it would be cool if we encountered a spirit that was once our past lives. I wonder if it would take long to realize it. Agree. But Nicole had a good question. She goes, but
I can answer that, Brandy, reader, a little bit, because in my near death part of my knowing why I had to come back was I got to step into someone I was and heard in my own voice me saying, I promise I'll come back and do this. So, I mean, I got to be that person for that moment. But I don't, but I didn't have a conversation with myself. I was an observer and I slightly went
okay,
into
so
it.
we go to Harry Potter. Okay, we're going to go to fiction. Remember when they had the time turners and they went back in time, and even Dumbledore told them, you must not be seen, including especially for yourself. Now, I don't believe it would drive you into madness, like Dumbledore said. But the thing is, right, and we hear about this all the time, that with time travel, that we could cause a paradox, right, or the butterfly effect, if you will, because of something we may change, which could change the whole entire future. Now, the other thing Nicole asked, which is cool, but would you ever know it was yourself? That's a good question.
Yeah. That is. I don't know.
Hi, Facebook user. I'm just going to tell you quickly so we know who you are. If you could head to StreamYard.com/Facebook and just give them permission to use your name and your picture. It's going across the bottom. You can see it too. And then we'll know who you are. So hi, welcome. Sorry, Dave, go ahead.
I was going to say, no, Erica's is it true that souls can switch places inside a body? And I think that I'm assuming you're speaking of a walk-in. It can and does happen. It's extremely rare. If a soul does, if a walk-in were to occur, it would go like this. So here's a person that's always been living here. Okay, this person, something happens and they just can't be here anymore for whatever reason, and they leave. But by this person leaving, it might affect stuff around it that needs to still go on. But this person's gone. Another soul
They're pivotal. They're pivotal.
Another soul can say, I will go in and take your place as you, and you can stay. So what happens is this soul now forgets who he is, comes into this body and picks up where this soul left off, including having the memories, but not really have experienced them.
Yeah.
I will say we're. Usually there's some differences between the two. I don't know.
And
Yeah, and then there's also this though. Another theory is someone like this person, instead of a walk-in and having the souls change out, it takes back more of the soul it left behind. So let's say you're 100% right now on this side, and when you come into this life, you're maybe only about 30% of that energy that's here. So most of you is over there. You go about your life, and then you go back and you obtain the memories. Now, some people will take like a huge amount of soul and come down here. I don't know for what reason. And then there's some who come, and that's what I believe happened to me. I just gathered extra energy that was over there and brought more with me. Maybe. I don't know for sure.
Well, I wasn't going to say, but you and I off air for quite a few years have had conversations about walk-ins and what happens. And I love this is why Dave and I started this show, because my God, if you guys were a fly on the wall before we started the show, especially because we like getting deep. And I think that's you've asked some, presented some really interesting scenarios, and I'm loving what people are adding to the conversation, because do we know all the answers? No. And I always say we're never going to know them all until we go back home ourselves, right?
But in the meantime, I think that it's really good, you guys, to experiment with these things in your head and just keep open mind. By keeping an open mind, eventually the truth will come to you, what you need to know. Like there's certain truths that nobody knew now that we know for real. Like people like me, I know for sure there is no such thing as death. So
no,
it's for sure there's no such thing as death. Are we still sad when people here leave? Yes, because it's the nature of who we are right now. We all see everybody in the end. But I wish that's how we would have started out life. by telling kids there's no hell, there's no nothing. You're going to live. Some people might go before you, but you'll see them later in the death. We should be celebrating their accomplishments and the joy of knowing them while we're here instead of grieving about what happened.
Yeah, but I think that's part of the normal human experience when we come here is to like, and I don't know all the answers, but from the studies I've done, because one of the things I was going to suggest, like what Dave said, I agree 100%, but work with as many different people as you can. Look at as many different authors, web pages, all kinds of different things you can look at, because you know what, the more you learn and the more you grow and evolve and the more evidential proof for yourself from the signs that you receive, you're gonna change some of your views and viewpoints. And like asking questions like this tonight, there was great questions in the audience. None of them are dumb questions ever, because this is how we learn. We learn from one another. We talk about these things. We share what we think may be happening, but we don't know, but it gives us food for thought. And then tonight, when you leave here, you guys can, and like we research stuff all the time. I'm a lifelong learner. I just signed up, believe it or not, for an aura clearing course. Do I necessarily need it? No, I can do it with Crystal Reiki, but I just thought it looked really cool. And I wanted to check. I like to learn from other people. What are you doing? How are you doing it? And going from there.
Learning and exploring and doing something, asking questions expands your soul. It really does. When you move into these things. So you guys make sure even after this show, you just go all weird, go all woo woo, and just look up some weird stuff and
then bring it up to us next week and share it or ask us about it. We'd love to talk about it.
While we're doing that, it is 8:51. So if you would like to share anything that has happened to you, we're going to give you a couple places to write to. One, you can write to me at david@theywhispertome.com, which is also my website. Theywhispertome.com for booking readings. I never, ever, ever solicit readings or DM you. So if somebody says they're me and does that, which it happens a lot, it's not me. You got to go to my website. That's the only way. I have a podcast that you can listen to just about any podcast form called Mystic Stew. My YouTube channel is A Spirit Experience. And of course, we are on, I've got TikTok too. You can find me anywhere in social media at Medium David Hanzel. And then I am with the lovely Lorilei Potvin on The Thing at the Foot of the Bed. And speaking of Lorilei, take it away.
Here we are. Okay. So yes, so I made myself a couple notes. If I forget, guys, leave us a note. It doesn't matter if it's with David or I will remember, and Dave will shoot me a message, or I'll shoot him one if we said we're going to share something, and I'll try and put it in the comments for you, okay? Because I made a few notes of it. You ever want to get a hold of me, whether you want to book a reading, maybe got a show idea, guest suggestion, maybe especially like a question you want to ask for a topic for the week. We love stuff like that. You can get a hold of me on facebook.com/The Angel Rock. I also do mentoring. I do crystal Reiki, which means balancing your chakras, working with your energy, clearing it and your aura and such. Okay. I have 2 groups on Facebook, Paranormal University for all things paranormal, and the Angel Rocker Tribe for some of the spiritual things we talked about tonight. I also have a YouTube channel, The Angel Rock with Lorilei Potvin. All social media, same things as that. There was one more thing I was going to add quickly. Oh yeah, how could I forget? Mondays, I'm here with the Angel Rock. It is from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm trying to remember who I have on as a guest. I'm so sorry. It'll be someone awesome, I promise, because we just get the best people that come on this show, and we have great conversations. I saw some of you earlier saying you got your birth chart from the guest on Monday night with Carmen. So happy for you. She's coming back soon. Don't forget, guys, stay tuned. Stay tuned for The Outer Realm with Michelle DeRoche and Amelia Pisano right after this. If you like what you see, please share, like, and subscribe, and tell your friends and family. There's something for everybody here. Go ahead, Dave.
Yeah, and I'm so sorry. I just tried to type while you're talking to somebody, and I can't. I'm in the dark here. So my typing looks like I'm a kidnapper. Facebook user said, okay, I'm going to go because it won't let me do the StreamYard thing. Listen, if it doesn't let you, you can't figure it out.
Just tell us who you are.
Just tell us your name, and that way we can talk you then. Otherwise, don't. You're always welcome here.
Always welcome here. Yeah, please don't ever feel like you have to go. We have to go because we have to get off the air so that Amelia and Michelle can come on, but you are always welcome here. So if it won't let you do it, just say, hi, it's me. StreamYard won't let me do it. But don't say me, if your name, whatever it is, just so we know and that we can address you too.
I'm waving to everybody with my
Okay, are we ready? Are we going to try and do it? We never do it on time.
I'll try it. 1, 2, 3. What's at the foot of your bed?
One of these days we're going to do it together all at once. Okay, guys, I'll see you Monday. We'll see you next week on Thursday. Have a good one, okay? Much love.